Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. It is Mike's Talks and Thoughts here, back again with another video for you guys. And today we have a Sopranos characters tier list. I just recently finished the Sopranos about a week ago, and I have many thoughts on the characters from the show. There's a lot of characters here, as you can see from the show. I pretty much have the names of all of them or what kind of role they played. There's only one person on here that I really couldn't find. If you could let me know in the comments who they are, I believe they're someone who works for um, the mob in that crew. But yeah, without further ado, let's get started here. So first here we have Adriana, of course, Christopher's longtime fiance. Um, I thought she was okay. I'm gonna put her in the B tier. I think she was solid. I know a lot of people, really hate her, and I can definitely agree that the flip was not favorable. Something I didn't like. But yeah, I think overall as a character, she's a B tier. AJ here, man, fuck AJ, bro. AJ is a D tier, bro. AJ is just such a little shit throughout most of the series. He complains about everything. It's just a pain in the ass, like every time he's on screen. There were some memorable moments that I like about him, but for the most part, he just really annoyed me a lot of the time. So I got to put him in the D tier. Artie here, I'm gonna put Artie in the B tier. Another one that can be annoying at points, but I really like his relationship with Tony. He's a very complicated individual, even though he's not really a part of the life, but he's sees a lot what's going down at his restaurant. Yeah. So in the next tier, Benny. One of the most memorable things was him and Artie's fight. I'm gonna put him in the C tier. Most of these characters who are side characters who were involved a lot on the side are gonna be put in this C tier here. Just people who are kind of okay, not really that memorable. Blanca here, C tier. I think she's okay. Probably one of my favorites though of AJ's girlfriends, but she could have done so much better than AJ. So yeah, I'm gonna put her in the C tier. Next year we have Tony Blundetto, a key character here, especially for season 5. I know a lot of people kind of hate on Tony. Man, I think he's actually pretty solid. Season 5 is probably in one of my favorite seasons of the show. I think the dynamics with Tony B and Tony Soprano is really great. A lot of the big scenes revolve around Blundetto. Um, I think he's a solid character here. I'm gonna put him in the B tier. Next tier we have our first S tier character in Bobby. Man, I freaking loved Bobby, man. Bobby was so wholesome and like the good of the show. Like every one of these other characters pretty much had something like bad about him or you hated parts of him. Bobby was like pure just joy and goodness, man. I loved when he was working with Junior, and then when he went on his own and gets promoted. I'm not really the biggest on his relationship with Janice. That's like the only thing I didn't really like about his character. But other than that, Bobby's awesome, man. Another character who was affiliated early on in the show. This is someone who works with Christopher named Brendan. Someone who really is gone early on, so not really that memorable. First F tier character here in Butch. Fuck Bush, man. Butch is just, man. I did not like him from the New York crew. Yeah, he really got on my nerves a lot, man. I wish they would have fucking whacked this guy real quick in the show, man. When we see him, I just did not like this dude, man. Next here we have Carlo, someone who uh, stays around for a lot of the series, and I'm gonna put him in the C tier. I think he's okay. Again, not too memorable until like the last moments with him are pretty memorable because of the implications that he has on Tony Soprano. So yeah, put him in the C tier. Carmela here, Now, I know a lot of people are going to, make comparisons here from the shows that I watch. Dude, for me, Carmela, I'm gonna put her in the A tier because I just think that she was so great. Edie Falco is just does just does a great job as Carmela. A comparison that you can make would be like Skylar from Breaking Bad, the wives of these anti-heroes that go on and do bad things. I think that Carmela just handles it so much better. There's points in the show where she really does piss me off and can really get on my nerves, but she does a phenomenal job. At the start of season 6, I think her acting is phenomenal in those scenes. She really does a great job holding it together. Um, I personally really liked her a lot, man. I don't know. I thought she was actually a pretty solid character, so I'm gonna put her in the A tier. Again, another probably unpopular opinion here. Carmine Lupertazzi, C tier, man. This dude, I don't know. Roy wasn't the craziest of him being the boss of the New York family. Um, I think there's other characters that are better and better in that villain role than Carmine. Carmine was just okay for me. Another one kind of in that okay category is Charmaine Bucco. This is Artie's wife throughout most of the show here. Again, someone not too memorable, kind of on the side, kind of plays off of Artie. Tony kind of talks about having a fling with her, but that doesn't really hold up. And yeah. Next here we have Christopher. Now, Christopher was someone who I went into the show knowing that I knew he was going to be like a main focal character. Um, and someone who I really thought was going to be S tier. At points in the series, he's really bad. I really don't like him. And other points, he's really solid. He's like in between B and A, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and put him in A. I think Christopher's a solid character. Probably in the top 3 for like characters with the most backstory in this universe. Besides Tony, he's probably like the number 2 guy who you know a lot about and follow a lot of his storylines. All his stuff with rehab and use of drugs is just really complicated in the story. Then you have his dream to be a Hollywood writer. You see that early on, and then with his movie that comes out that he makes with Lil Carmine, who we'll get to. I think he's an interesting character. He has a lot of great scenes. Him and Paulie's dynamic is amazing. Pine Barrens is probably my favorite episode of the show, and him and Paulie work really well off of each other. So yeah, for me, I'm gonna put Christopher in A tier. Elliot here, D tier, man. I'm just not really a fan of these therapists or psychiatrists in the show. D tier. Next tier we have Eugene. I'm gonna put Eugene in C tier here. This is the guy who, he really wants to get out of the game. I believe in season 5 or season 6, somewhere in those later seasons. You don't really see much of this guy up until then. He really wants to get out of the game, but Tony and the FBI, which he becomes an informant, won't let him. So he ends up committing suicide here. Someone not too memorable though in the show. Next here we have the priest that Carmelo goes and sees. Again, another C tier character. Not much that I really like about this guy, but not much that really irks me. So yeah, another one, Feech, Feech, Lamana. Not really too crazy about him. He has some run-ins with Tony, and then the lawn guy. Those are pretty funny scenes. Him and Paulie kind of go back and forth. Other than that, not much to him. Finn here, I really thought that Finn was going to be endgame here with Meadow, but that doesn't end up happening. Finn, I'm gonna put Finn in B tier because I think he has some really great scenes. I love the scene when he comes out and tells the group about another character who, what he saw at the construction site. That's a great scene when he comes out and tells them. I think him and Meadow worked really well together. So, yeah. Another one here in the B tier, we have Furio. I think Furio is an awesome guy. I really liked him a lot. You have the storyline with him and Carmela that I'm kind of iffy on. I'm glad they really didn't take that too far. But, Furio, this guy from Italy, man, who comes over to the States and really becomes an enforcer for uh, Tony Soprano in Tony Soprano's crew is really great. Next tier, GG. Another one not too memorable. Gonna go in that C tier. Gloria Trillo. See, I hate like all of Tony's like side relationship women, so I'm gonna put her in the D tier. I do think that she has some pretty funny scenes though with Tony, with him, with her throwing the, I think it's the steak at him, or that big piece of meat at Tony. That's pretty funny. But I just really don't like any of Tony's girls on the side. They just really irritate me. That's why I think I like Carmela so much, because all the women he sees, they just piss me off. So I'm going to put her in the D tier. A shout out Banshee here. One of the characters from Banshee. Agent Harris is like the main FBI guy you see throughout the show. I'm gonna put him in the B tier, man. Great actor here, and I really like his relationship with Tony. Man, they actually kind of have some great conversations throughout the show. Great guy who they picked to be the lead FBI agent. Hesh here. I think Hesh is solid. He definitely has a lot of good moments with Tony. Rui works well as a side character in the story. Hugo, man, I'm gonna put him in B tier. I think he's solid as well. Has a lot of funny one-liners at the dinner table. Works with Carmelo on that spec house. I really like his birthday, Marco Polo. It's another one of my favorite episodes of the show in season 5. Here, I like that episode revolving around Hugh's birthday. I'm gonna put him in B tier. Again, another one of Tony's love interests, Irina, the Russian, D tier. Again, don't really care for her much at all. Next tier, Johnny Sack, man. I'm gonna put Johnny Sack in. I'm gonna put him in the A tier. I think Johnny Sack is really, really great, man. I like him a lot. He takes over, or he's the underboss to Carmine, and then ends up kind of taking over for New York for a lot of the series. And then the end of season 5 is crazy with Johnny Sack and Tony and that whole situation. And then it's really sad what happens with Johnny Sack later on, but I think he's a great villain. He's a great ally. I think he's very interesting. You see him a lot in the show. His daughter's wedding is a really crazy sequence. And yeah, I think that he's solid. Next tier, Jackie Aprile. I think he's B tier. I think he's okay. I mean, you don't really see much of Jackie Aprile because, of course, he deals with a lot of sickness early on in the show. But I think he is an okay character. Now, another one that I see a lot of people shit on a lot, but I personally don't think he's that bad, and I'm going to put him in the B tier, is Jackie Aprile Jr. Again, like I said about Season 5, Season 3 is like another one in that top tier of seasons for me. 6, 5, and 3 are like my favorites of the Sopranos here, and Jackie Aprile Jr. really plays a big role in Season 3. Probably like the biggest role of the side character in that season here. He's complicated. Tony doesn't want him to be a part of the life. He's looking out for his friend Jackie. Doesn't want his son to get involved in the mob or mafia life, but Jackie really wants to be just a part of that. He does all these schemes where he wants to fit in, he wants to be a part of it. He wants to be made, and then you kind of just see the downfall of Jackie Aprile Jr. So yeah, B tier. Next here, we have Janice, man. I'm just not really that big on Janice. I'm gonna put Janice in D tier, man. Something about her, I might move her up to C, but I can't stand Janice, man. Just someone who was really annoying. Someone who's kind of like AJ, man. Just someone who just really got on my nerves, and someone who just really felt entitled to everything. You know, all she ever does really is just argue with people and get mad. It's like she really doesn't get along with anyone. Maybe Carmela is like the only one she kind of gets along with. Wasn't really the biggest on her and Bobby's relationship. I think Bobby could do so much better than Janice. He could do so much better than Janice. D tier. Next year we have Junior. I think Junior's a B tier character. I think he's solid. Another one who's bordering on that A tier. Corrado, man. I think he's involved in a lot of the crucial scenes with Tony. Whether that's sending out hits on Tony, or that's negotiating with Tony, whether it's the struggle back and forth between him and Tony. He plays a very vital role in the show. And you see the downfall of Junior, him going crazy with having dementia and losing his mind. Very interesting to see in the show. Next year we have Little Carmine, man, and man, I freaking loved Little Carmine. He's bordering on A tier here, but I think I'm gonna put him in the B tier. Little Carmine was awesome, man. I don't know, I really liked him a lot. I liked him and Christopher working together on the movie. I always liked him with the New York crew. He was someone who actually felt genuine, and not complete just asshole. Carmine was just an awesome character. Liked him a lot better than his father, and yeah. Next year we have Lil Paulie. Of course, this is Paulie's kid. I'm gonna put him in the C tier. I think he's an okay character, but someone who, again, kind of like a lot of these other side characters, kind of just is there, not someone who does anything too memorable. Actually, the most memorable thing that happens with him is something that someone else does to him, not even something that he does. So I think he's okay, but yeah, just kind of on that C tier. Next year we have Olivia, D tier here. One of my least favorite aspects of the first few seasons. Roy was not a fan of her at all. I think a lot of people would agree on that. I mean, rest in peace to her, as an actress. But her character, couldn't stand her. Her and Janice just seem like so similar to me. Just so much complaining and so much just hate. It's just, they really remind me of each other, and I don't like either of them. Carmela's mom here, C tier. I like her and Hugo's fights. They're pretty funny. Other than that, not much adding to the story here. Next year, we have another one of the FBI agents among many of them that are in the show. Another one that's going to go in the C tier here, just kind of someone not too memorable. Meadow here. I like Meadow, man. Meadow is so much better than AJ in the show. Respectable, likable. I really like Meadow. I liked her with Finn. I think they worked great together. Like her dynamic with Carmela, Tony, AJ. Works very well with the family. Someone who you see enough of, but not too much. She really turns into a great character. And for me, B tier. Melfi. Like I said earlier with Elliot, I don't like these therapists or psychologists. I know this might be another unpopular opinion. I think people are a lot more with or behind Melfi. But for me, I'm going to put her in the D tier, man. I just wish that they would just cut all of those scenes and the panic attacks out of the show. She's just really so one-dimensional. Like, all her character is the therapist. and doesn't really have a lot of memorable scenes to go along with it. I know they like showing her outside life at points in the show, which, I'm not really interested in seeing the drama with her at all. Um, I just really don't get behind Melfi or any of the therapists on the show. So I'm gonna put her in the D tier here. And right here, this is the guy who I am not sure who this is. He looks like an associate with one of the Jersey or New York crews or an FBI agent. Don't really know. If you could let me know in the comments, I'm just gonna put him in the C tier. He's probably gonna be someone who is just not too memorable. Didn't get on my nerves at all, but just don't remember the character's name. His face definitely looks familiar, but not sure who this is. Next, here we have. Oh, I should have punched his fucking lights out. Noah here. This is another one of Meadows' relationships. Just for that line alone, I'm gonna put him in the C tier. I didn't really care for this guy that much. He kind of does Meadow dirty in the later episodes with them together. His parents doesn't really approve of Tony's life, and but I love how Noah kind of doesn't take all this shit from Tony, because Tony is just being, very stereotypical to him and talking down on him. And Noah's just not having it, man. I should have punched his fucking lights out. Great scene there. Next here we have Patsy, man. Patsy. B tier. Someone who plays the game really well. I think Patsy Parisi is really great. I think he's got a lot of memorable moments. He comes. He's always kind of there. A lot of people think he plays a really pivotal part in the ending. Take with that as you will. I think Patsy's great. He's another one like Meadow. He shows up when he needs to. Has a lot of great scenes. With Tony. I love the scene when he threatens Gloria. That's a great scene. Has a lot of good dealings. Really good side character in the show. So B tier. Next tier, another one of the S tier characters here. We have Paulie, man. Paulie for like the first 3 seasons was my favorite character on the show. Him and Christopher, like I already mentioned, have some of my favorite dynamics and funny moments on the show. Pine Barrens, such a great episode. Paulie has a lot of great moments in the show. A lot of great, funny, memorable moments. Has a lot of great one-liners. Really brings the comedy to the show. I really like him in the group. Paulie Gaultieri is going to go down as a legend. Phil Leotardo, man. I really liked Phil as a villain. Another one that I'm going to put in the A tier here. Again, probably controversial. I think he's really an asshole, and I don't like him as a person, but as a villain, I think he's probably the biggest villain in the show, the one who causes the most damage, of course. Phil Leotardo, man, I think he is a solid villain, a part of the New York family against the Jersey group, the Jersey family here. And I'm going to put him in the A tier. He's another one kind of bordering on the A and B tier. But I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and put him in A tier because he was a solid villain. Next tier we have Pussy, Big Pussy, man. I'm gonna put Puss in A tier. Another one, probably one of my again favorites of the first few seasons here, but I can't respect what he does, man. And he gets what he deserves, but Pussy is just such a wonderful thought to life character, you know what I mean? Just someone who really shines in those first couple of seasons. Again, another one with a lot of funny one-liners, and I mean the name, man, just got to put him in the A tier. Ralphie, man, fuck Ralphie. Bro, Ralphie's D tier, man. I kind of sympathize with Ralphie a little bit, but nah, not really. Ralphie is like one of the biggest assholes. Like him and Phil are like 2 of the biggest assholes in the entire show. But I just don't like Ralphie at all, man. Um, he's another one who gets what he deserves. Um, he kind of starts this whole thing, of course, with the Jenny Sack joke. He's just someone who the only reason he doesn't isn't whacked earlier on than he should be is because of how well of an earner he is in the show for Tony and for New York. Uh, but yeah, Ralphie, I'm just not a big fan of Ralphie. Richie Aprile, another one I'm not too big on, but I'm gonna put him in the C tier. Another one of these guys who we see gets out of prison. Really big key character in season 2 here. Wasn't again big on him and Janice's relationship. Wasn't a big fan of that. I'm never really big with anyone who Janice gets with. I think him and Tony though has some very memorable scenes. What Richie does to Beansy too, man, so uncalled for. But him and Tony have some great scenes. Now we have Rosalie Aprile. This is someone who was with Jackie Aprile. She's kind of in the show just for Carmela to have a friend. Put her in the C tier here. Okay character. I like the episode when they both go to Paris. That's a solid episode. And her kind of mother relationship to Jackie Aprile Jr. is solid, but other than that, she's just kind of in that C tier. Next year we have Rusty. This is another one of the New York guys who really sides with Little Carmine. Again, someone not too memorable in the show. C tier here. Next year we have Sean, another one of the associates here. Another one C tier, kind of in that middle of the road for the associates. But next year we have one of my favorites, definitely top 5 in the show, Silvio, Sil, Dante, man. Freaking love Sil. Sil is just so cool, calm, and collected. Sil just shuts his mouth and gets his business done. Doesn't cause a lot of drama. Sil is just awesome. He's someone like Bobby, one of the more likable members in the show. He has a lot of big moments in the show here. They really did well on Sil's character arc, and I really like Sil, man. Sil's S tier. Next year we have Irina's cousin, another one that Tony kind of gets with. I'm gonna put her in the D tier here. Not really too memorable here. Another one just like all these characters in the D tier here, I just really am not a big fan of. Most of them involved with Tony at some point, and yeah. But here, Tony, while he does have his faults, he became my favorite character in the show. For like the first 3 seasons, it was Paulie. Paulie was my number one. But as I started watching more and getting more into it, as Paulie kind of became more of a background character, and Tony really stepped up. He plays that lead role really great. James Gandolfini gives some of the best acting I've seen. He has some great performances in the show, and I really appreciated it a lot more in the later seasons. Tony's an S tier character, probably my favorite character on the show. I know that's a cliche answer, but it's true, man. Tony is just so great. He has his faults, and he has a lot of things I don't like about him. I hate when he, with all these women he gets with, I don't like any of them. They're all so unlikable with Tony. I don't like that aspect about him, but it's definitely a given in the show. Again, I'm not really big on his panic attacks and the whole Melfi situation. Wish that would be replaced more with more mob scenes or include another family in the mix to spice things up. But I'm going to put him in the S tier. Got to have Tony in the S tier, man. Another one of Tony's failed relationships in the later seasons, Valentina. D tier again, like with all these other women that he is with. Another one of the FBI guys, but this guy is just another one I just don't like. D tier here for this guy. So yeah, and then Big Vito, man. Wow. They actually give Vito a pretty crazy arc in the later seasons here. I thought Vito was solid. I'm gonna put Vito in the B tier, man. Vito, they really another one who gets a actual character arc. I'm not really sure if I'm really the biggest fan of it, but it's definitely makes for interesting story here. Um, so yeah, only one person in the F tier here. Butch couldn't stand this guy, but a lot of these D tier characters also are on the verge of F tier here. But yeah, so this is the Sopranos characters tier list. I guess we could do a little recap here. So in S tier we have Bobby, Paulie, Sil, Tony. A tier Carmela, Chris, Johnny Sack, Phil, and Pussy. B tier we have Adriana, Artie, Blundetto, Finn, Furio, Agent Harris. We have Hesh, Hugo, Jackie April, Jr., Jr., Lil Carmine, Meadow, Patsy, and Vito. C tier, we have Benny, Blanca, Brendan, Carlo, Carmine, Charmaine, Eugene, the Priest, Feach, Gigi, Lil Paulie, Carmela's mom, FBI agent, some guy who I'm not sure of, Noah, Richie April, Rosalie, uh, Rusty, and Sean. D tier, we have AJ, Elliot, Gloria, Irina, Janice, Liv, Irina's cousin, Liv's caretaker, uh, Melfi, Ralphie, Melfi and Ralphie, Valentina, and another one of the FBI agents. And then an F tier here, we have Butch from the New York crew. So yeah, without further ado, that is going to do it here for the Sopranos characters tier list. Let me know if some characters that weren't listed on here that you'd like to hear my opinion on, or if you know who that is. Name some other F tier characters I'd like to see more, or other characters who you think maybe too low and need to move up a tier. I'd like to hear your opinions down in the comments below. Again, like and subscribe for more characters tier lists and rankings on the channel here. We have a lot of big plans moving forward. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and peace out.